Arsenal relegate West Brom, and Arteta is safe for now. Football fans, welcome to the 10th May 2021 edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I'm your host Shotta, together with my usual partner, Blackburn George, the Arse blogger. Stay tuned for more. Blackburn George, the Arse blogger. Welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm magnificent. I'm basking in the glory of a reflected win.
You are?
Against the mighty West Brom and Sam Allardyce's all-conquering team.
George,
so, yeah,
I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you. They are 19th. They are gone. And you're basking. You're like many Arsenal fans. We enjoyed 66% possession against that lot. 7 shots on target. We scored 3 goals. Even the mighty Willian. George, we had 15 shots. Can you believe that? We're a team that usually only have 4 shots or maybe we barely scratch double figures in the normal game. And the mighty West Brom, and we pounded them. And William, just like I said, scored a goal after an entire season and £200,000 a week. What is there to complain about?
Well, you know what?
Yes, George.
It's funny because William scored, and it was a good goal. It was a good free kick.
Yes.
And I don't think... I've never seen a reaction like it. Our fans were furious. They were absolutely livid that he had scored. I mean, fucking hell. This is Arteta's boy that you should be supporting him.
Yeah.
You know, this is the guy that Arteta was phoning up, begging him to come and take the pittance £200,000 a week that we would pay him rather than go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You know, let's get behind the lad.
Gave him 3-year contract, George.
In all seriousness.
Sorry, George. Gave him a 3-year contract when Chelsea would only give him 2 or 1.
Yeah, don't blame them either. They were right. But regardless of that, you can't be complaining that a guy scored a good free kick.
Yeah, that's quite.
You know, fucking hell. What's it coming to? It's like, they don't like it. If you bring up the fact that Xhaka has played well and he's better than Thomas Partey, and you can prove it statistically, they go fucking apeshit.
Oh yeah.
They don't like it. They don't want. It's madness, you know. Or Pepe. Pepe scored yesterday.
Oh. Yeah.
All that we got.
Yes, he scored yesterday. By the way, don't get me wrong. Yes, finally scored. Maybe scored. What is it? 7 or so goals this season in the PL. I think I heard that figure. Go ahead, George.
A good goal as well.
Yes.
But I mean, up until that point, he was shocking.
Oh yeah, he was just turning over the ball. Yes.
Even so, he scored a good goal. We can't be getting annoyed when they score, just like we can't be getting annoyed when they win. It's gone so strange, the support in the fan base, is that people who are against Arteta are getting annoyed when something good happens, and people that support Arteta are getting annoyed with you all the time, and even when they win.
Yes.
Everybody's so entrenched in the position now that it comes to as far as complaining and crying that William scored a fucking magnificent free kick.
George.
It's the internet. I'm sure it is.
Well,
our COVID sent us all mad or something. There's no balanced reasoning at all. I mean, we beat West Brom. They were shocking, but we beat them. And so every other club gets a chance to play them, and most other clubs have also beaten them. So we're only levelling up where they've already had the bonus 3 points, their 3 points. We got our 3 points. You can't fucking complain that we've won. But some Arteta out people, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I want him here. Get unhappy that Willian and Pepe scored. It's just fucking mad. You know, they were complaining before kick-off that the midfield was...
El Nene and Ceballos.
Yeah, and they both played well.
Yes.
I mean, they played against West Brom, fair enough, but they still both played well. And it's just so strange. And then you have Arteta coming on. When we actually started to shit ourselves when they scored a goal and got back to 2-1, and we couldn't control the game against these absolute fucking useless twats that are West Brom.
Right.
He brought Partey on, and he came on afterwards like as if he had done some sort of tactical masterclass. Tactical masterstroke. Yeah. I brought Partey on and we started to control the game. No, we didn't, Miguel. We did anything but control the game for the last half hour. Yeah. It was so far from control, it was untrue. But he's coming on, claiming, and 3-1 reflects an easy win. XG, we lost the fucking game.
Yes, I saw that figure, George. They had a higher XG than us. We had less than 1.0, 0.9 or something, and they had 1.8. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to make a point, by the way, but keep going.
Well, XG, this is the thing about, you mentioned that, XG, and people will tell you, oh, it's ridiculous that doesn't reflect properly the game. Well, no, it doesn't. No stat reflects properly the game. 3-1 in our favour didn't reflect properly the game. It was a much closer, tighter game than that. No stat on its own is a reflection of the game. Especially not, even the scoreline at the end is usually no reflection of the game itself. So, yeah, but all the stats have to be taken, everything has to be taken into consideration. And our XG was less than 1. That's it.
You know, George, that's a very...
Is that as you wish?
You know, George, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that. You know, I highly rated Arsene Wenger's teams because of the chances they created and the big chances they created. And sometimes, as you know, we created chances and we did not take full advantage of them. Big chances too. But at the end of the day, statistically, that is why we thrived in the top 4. Because in general, but with the amount of chances we created, we might not win all of the games. In fact, let's be honest here. We didn't have a great record in the last 10 years against the other top 4 teams. But for anybody beneath that, we were winning. So that for me was an important stat. And that for me is why I am very, very, this word I'm looking for. I very annoyed with Arteta because we don't create many chances. And I always say this in the podcast. And yesterday, most of our chance creation was from the flanks, not down the middle, George. Especially in the first half, Willian and Xhaka had the field day with this poor fellow called Furlong, and you know eventually Smith Rowe got across, which he scored. And by the way, George, his first goal, we should give him credit. But do you see the point I'm trying to make here?
Yeah, that's the point that I was going to raise. Saka at left back.
Oh well, that's another issue, George, because you called it last week. You called it or the week before, saying, why are we not playing Saka as left back instead of Xhaka? Go ahead, George.
Exactly. Why didn't we? Yeah. And it was absolute nonsense. The moment Tierney went out and we had no cover, because he's clearly not going to play Cedric for some reason, you have to play Saka, and leave our midfield at its strongest with our best midfield player in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't, and that's just another one of his absolute mad decisions. But there you go.
Yes.
So,
But you see what? But going back to the game yesterday, I mean, the chance creation was. We had 7 shots on target, 15 shots, but most of the chance creations, from my observation, were down the flanks. That's the point I was trying to make with you. I don't know if you observed that as well.
Yeah, I'm from the left-hand side.
Yes, yes, and even
and it was good.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're creating a lot of chances down the left-hand side, I mean, the Invincibles.
Yes.
Most of our chances came down the left-hand side.
With Pierce, yes,
we had
with Thierry.
Perez.
Thierry. And Thierry.
Yeah, Ashley Cole, Perez and Thierry.
Yeah.
And that was our strength. There's nothing wrong with that in itself.
Yes.
But you have to be able to attack from all areas. It's not like Lundberg didn't score from the other side, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about him while you were speaking.
Or Dennis didn't score down the middle, so
To go back to your point George, about the entrenched opinions and I have some a couple of people. My blog is small, so I'm not going to say it's reflective, but I'm on Twitter, so I see a lot of views, and some of my people will say that that the fans are idiots for wanting to get rid of Wenger and their obsession with Arteta. And I want to say, George, for me personally, most fans are not idiots. Most of the fans who are pro Arteta are not idiots. There are some idiots amongst them. But most of them are not idiots. Because, George, when I think about it, for up to the last 10, 12 years of Wenger's reign, he was subject, and we as fans were subject to the most relentless media campaign, telling us that Wenger was underachieving, that we could easily be winning the league title if we'd only spend a little bit more, if we didn't try to walk the ball into the net, if we only got a big old DM, if we only got one or two bigger English defenders. You're all at it for 10, 12 years, George. And in my opinion, a lot of us have internalized this. Whether or not we know it or not, we have internalized it. And many of the people who, when Wenger was leaving, this is the worst thing that ever happened. Many people secretly believe that they didn't say it, but they secretly believe that maybe it was time for Wenger to move on, and that the new coach would spend a little bit more money, would get a big old midfielder, would not emphasize 6 technical midfielders like Wenger would have, And Emery came along, and he stopped playing Ramsey, and he stopped playing Ozil, and he took us to the Europa League final. But we were playing horrible football, George. You remember Watford poured in 20 shots on us in one half, and then people realized that this couldn't work. Similarly, we have Arteta. People believe that our former captain could make us better. He promised us attractive, positive, aggressive football. And then we are only creating 4 shots on target, 2 shots on target. The people want to believe that Emery and now Arteta can make us better. And this is what I don't think people have really internalized, that we had it very good under Arsene Wenger. And you are looking on people who have failed. Arteta has failed, George. 7 losses at home. Is it correct? You made that figure the other day.
Yeah.
Playing the kind of football that we play. Getting rid of Ozil. What are your thoughts on that, George? I don't think they're idiots. I think we have internalized what the media, our own ex-players have told us, and we're hoping We wishfully think that Arteta